Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. And it's time to be aware of the joy and beauty that we have all around us because our state is one of the most luxuriously beautiful states in the United States of America. And people today coming up to me, talking to me, when they visit here, quite often people simply after visiting decide they want to move here to Colorado and specifically to Boulder. It's a beautiful place to live. And what makes it beautiful is that in Boulder, you can be just about anything you want to be and nobody's going to look askance at you. You can be just as strange as you want to be. And so now you know why we have all the strange people we have in this church. They all came here to be strange and left alone. Is there anybody here from another Unity? No, good. Well, look, we have a great talk coming up from Cintisha is going to share with you. So look forward to it. You are going to be inspired.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity of Boulder. Those of you who are joining us here in the room and those of you who are joining us online, we love spending some time with you each Sunday. We have a few announcements of upcoming events here at Unity of Boulder. We're really one upcoming event, announcement. Starting tomorrow, we're having our children's summer camp that we call Angel Camp. And that is it's for children ages 4 to 9. We do it right here in the building. We play games, we have treasure hunts, we do just about everything. It ends with a talent show right here on this stage with the kids performing. It starts tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. and goes till 12:30, all 5 days this week, Monday through Friday. It's $90 per child, or $145 if you have 2 children. It will be led by Cintisha and Heather, who you guys know from the office. And they've got so many fun events planned. So if you know any children who are looking for something to do for a week, or you're a parent, you're looking for something for your child to do for a week, please let us know. You can sign up for that in the office. Just find Heather and we'll get you all set up. I'd like to give a few shout outs and some welcomings to a few people who don't always get mentioned here at Unity of Boulder. First, I would like to welcome our new pianist here, Josh McNulty, who's filled in and has welcome, Josh. Thank you so much. You have been wonderful. So please keep it up and we'll keep you. I'd also like to acknowledge back here in this corner, we have our man, Josh Cullison. He's the guy making it sound beautiful in this room every Sunday. We can't do it without Josh. And then straight back in front, she's kind of in the dark, but we've got Cassie Brubaker. She's up there. She's running all these lights and all these PowerPoints that you're seeing from that booth alone. And then you don't even have to bother looking because you can't see him. But in this other booth, we have my man Chris Gakey, who's up there. He runs our live stream. He's in charge of 8 cameras around this whole room that he switches between himself and makes sure that our live stream looks good. So just wanted to say thank you to all of you. And also I really want to give a huge shout out. Last week we did a whole outdoor cleanup of our whole front parking area and our entrances, and the amount of work that we were able to get done in about an hour and 15 minutes. Everyone really pitched in. It's a different world out there compared to how it looked when I pulled in last week. So to everyone who came out and helped us out front, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh.
Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all here. This is the point in our service where it's a call for prayer. It's a moment for us to bring into mind friends and family members that might be facing some challenges in their life right now. And we know when we're praying, we're not changing the outer experience or changing God to meet this, but we're actually changing ourselves to merge with this source energy, that we remember that we're all one, and that we can send this prayerful energy to our loved ones, to ourselves even, to come into a higher consciousness, meet in their higher consciousness, and bring this fluid healing into their being. So we sing this song to just connect with this source, this cause of all life. It comes in many names, and whatever name makes you feel connected to this oneness. So we're going to sing this song. This is Steve Sheets. He's the head of our prayer partners, and you can write the names on the sheets that are in the pews in front of you, and he'll collect those names, and they will go into our prayer box over here for 30 days, and then sent to Unity Village to Silent Unity and prayed over for an additional 30 days. Okay. So we ask you to sing with us. They say to sing is to pray twice. You can't really think anything else or be anything else but the prayer when we are singing. Okay. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me, and I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. Now you know it. That's what it is. You are the air I breathe. You are the air I breathe. Your holy presence living in me, and I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for you. So grateful for you. And so it is. So now we have the wonderful opportunity to listen to some poetry by Val. Let's have a warm welcome for Val.
Hi, good morning. I've invited Louis to play and accompany me on this poem, so thank you for having me. And yeah, just drop in and let these words that arrive within. Indigenous. I'm an original, born to this land. My first blood-watered native Michigan rivers. Red cardinal song. My afterbirth seeded, flaming aboriginal maple trees. I left my rubber soles by that particular road and carried a carved wood flute to the circle of elms. We knew each other's names, and they never wavered, never struck, never dressed in rage. They whispered my true names, my win names, my land names. They grew skin like desert canyon walls. They sheltered nests of baby mice in their roots. They stitched together the marrow of my bones, threaded with the blood of my Russian Cossack grandfathers, who invaded the Polish farms of my grandmothers. All escaped across an ocean, into gang fights, knifings, and fur coats in the Detroit bar they founded. But I seek the amnesty of trees to feather my bones. Indigenous of earth, my hands open to the dark soil, the light, full, crystalline moon. My brothers stayed to wear the two right shoes of righteousness. They see my branches as enemy. But I was born to this land. I marry willows and bear children each spring. I synthesize the sun into shelter for all my relations. I bury the word them in the earth with the seeds of other until they sprout as us. Not woman, not poet, not crossed, not voter, not veiled, not stoned, not alone. We return, sky spacious, indigenous cells shared. Not the few, but all. Thank you.
Poet Fowl, everyone. Amazing. Thank you so much. So I want to invite the entertainment club up here. We're going to do a sing-along. We're going to ask the rest of you to stand up. We're going to do some singing. And then we'll get to listen to a message at some point here. Let's all stand. This song just keeps repeating itself, so you might just learn it the first time through and then join us.
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how.
You replace God with love.
Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on the bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, love will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. Once I decide to change my mind, love will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision right here and now. All right, you're great.
Beautiful singing. Good morning, everyone. Nice to have you here today. My name is Cintisha Groverland. I'm one of the spiritual leaders here at Unity of Boulder, and I co-lead here with Jack Groverland. He runs the first service, and I run the celebration service, and whatever that means, I guess that will mean. Are we going to celebrate today? I don't know. I've got kind of a serious, cool, introverted, kind of a go inside type of a sermon today, titled The More I Wander, the more I wonder. The more I wander, the more I wonder. That's a statement by Tom Callanan. So I'm contemplating the times that we're in when I was writing this talk, and kind of the whirlwind of the world, right? And how we can get caught up if we decide to buy into it and watch the news and look at the world and experience the pace of it. And we know when we get into that, we lose that heartbeat of the drum that we're listening to when we're listening to Val play her beautiful flute and then speaking those powerful words, really leaning towards oneness, right? And remembering our oneness in this world. And I think when we get caught up in the world, we become extremely individualized. We're very aware of self expressed in the world, right? And so we can get very lonely almost in our thoughts. We can get overwhelmed. We can find ourselves filled with anxiety, filled with fear, all those wonderful words that can consume us and completely take this spiritual life away from us, right? So it's really about how do we get back to that wonder as we wander through all this that we're witnessing as divine perfection in this world, right? We're the perfect children of God, of source, of the cause of life, right? And when we really know that and we live from that, that love as individual becomes that love of the universal, right? And then we don't feel so alone. We feel connected to our brothers and sisters, and we realize that we're all going through this together. When we can really feel that togetherness, then we become anew. We become awakened. We move from our 3D consciousness, which is of the world, into the higher consciousness of 5D, or we're letting go of the old paradigms and moving into the one we're here to be expressing now, right? So it's a lot of getting rid of the old. It's the death and the resurrection, that spiritual process that we go through over and over again in a lifetime, usually brought on by difficult and challenging times, sometimes by a beautiful thing, but most often it's usually by some sort of loss or crisis where we lose our grip on why we're here. What is the reason why we came in at this time? I mean, there's no question if there's divine order. There's absolutely a reason why each and every one of us are at different age groups stepping into this world right now, but there really has never been quite a time of change like we're all witnessing now. And I think that many of us know that really it is up to us to be the consciousness that we want to see in this world. And while it's a little turbulent right now, it's getting more and more turbulent as we watch it, and so it keeps trying to get our attention, right? It's trying to get our attention. Yesterday, what happened, I'm not going to even repeat it. It's just the chaos, the out of order, the duality, the separation is always a vision of that. There's a lack of that oneness. There's that lack of inclusivity. There's that lack of acceptance. There's that lack of all of us being in this together, regardless of your backgrounds, regardless of your race, regardless of your sexual orientation, regardless, because ultimately we're souls. We're all souls, blanketed in this cloth we call this lifetime. We so miss what all the many lifetimes brought us to this moment. There's no way we're here at this time and didn't do this many, many, many times. We've done this school. We've done the school of hard knocks. And this time we have to find how we get to go through this in a state of peace, in a state of wonder, and in a state of still enjoying and knowing that our good isn't behind us, but it's also still in the presence of this moment, right? So the more I wander, the more I wonder. So during these interesting times filled with change, uncertainty, and a social set of rules that are becoming worn out, things are coming out into the surface of humanity, and obviously within all of us. That something has to change as an individual and as a collective consciousness. I heard a great quote from a mentor of mine that defines ego, and it goes like this. Ego, any part of my divinity I am not expressing. here we've got a Course in Miracles that's this thick, and we're trying to define the ego. And when she said that, it just rolled off her tongue, and I was like, "Oh, wait, say that again. Wait, what did you just say?" Any part of my divinity I am not expressing. It's powerful. It just, 5, 6 little words right there. Any part of myself, any part of my divinity I am not expressing. It's so interesting, right? I can't figure out how to turn this off all of a sudden. Oh, there we go. Recognizing that we can be in separation and go through life in a place where it's us against the world, world against us, and it's a very victim exchange, and we can find ourselves really lost, right? Things are coming out into the surface of humanity, and obviously within all of us, that something has to change as an individual and as a collective consciousness. And the clearest way to discover what needs to change always starts within us. You know, so often we'll think when we're going through a challenging time that we're the only ones going through it, right? It's a very strange thing, but when you work in a church or you work in a spiritual center like this, which I have my entire adult life, I get to talk to the collective all the time. I get emails, I get texts, I do counseling sessions, and there's always a common thread of what's going on with all of us. So that sense that we're the only one that's going through this particular problem or trauma or difficulty, everybody's getting some sort of essence of it at the same time. That's how the universe keeps collectively growing all of us. So I can stand up here and know that many of us are feeling like we are facing troubled times. And many of us are feeling right now, we don't know which direction to go. I also know that many of us are trying many things and they keep finding doors that are shut. This is the collective consciousness that talks to me. And guess who else is experiencing that? Me. Because I can't talk about anything that I'm not actually personally experiencing as well, because that wouldn't be honorable. Right? There used to be this idea of like a minister on a platform and somehow they knew God more than you. That is simply not the case. My whole life is just to be with that energy, with that source, with that cause, to remember my divinity and then mirror back to you so you remember your own. That's all that's happening here. If it was up to me, I would get rid of this platform so I could stand down there with you, but it wouldn't work with all the cameras and the lights and everything, so I'm not going to uproot the entire world to make things work for me. Anyhow, so any part of my divinity I am not expressing is the ego. So it asks us to tell ourselves the truth. A way of accessing answers many times is discovering where we are not expressing our divinity, that we can figure out what is going in our life. And a good way to do that is asking ourselves some pointed questions. So you'll see on your handout, I have a little worksheet that we're going to do today. I'm going to be more of a classroom moment today. Because sometimes I think when we can write things in our own handwriting, and use back here with pens. So anybody that needs a pen, put your hand up and she'll come and find you. But if they're those little golf pencils, then ask for a pen. So I'm just going to read this question to you, and then I'm going to read a passage from a book so you can contemplate this question that I'm asking. But let me first get everybody with a pen here. And if you have a partner that's sitting next to you, or a friend, it might be fun to interact with them with these questions while you're coming to terms, because a lot of times to figure out the answer to a question comes from us interacting with another about what's going on in your life, right? All right. So we're going to contemplate. Tell yourself 2 current stories about being lost in your life. In the outer sense of not knowing where you are or where you are headed, and second, in the inner sense of being divided or cut apart from yourself. And I'm going to read a passage for you to get a little bit deeper into because this wording didn't necessarily touch me when I first read this. I've been working with a book that I'm preparing a class that's coming in the fall with this book. But I just thought I'd bring a little bit of it today because, well, we don't really have time to get a peaceful, we need to get to this piece now. We can't wait till September to do so. So I'm going to read you this passage. And just close your eyes, and we're just going to contemplate this question. Tell yourself 2 current stories about being lost in your life. First, in the outer sense. So that's the outer sense. That's being of the world, of not knowing where you are or where you're headed. And second, in the inner sense of being divided or cut apart from yourself. A part of you where you're not telling yourself the truth. You're not merging with your heart. You're working in the intellect. You're still staying separate from self. And I'm going to read this. Here we go. This is from the book 7,000 Ways to Listen by Mark Nepo. The great Jewish philosopher and physician Maimonides said, "We are like someone in a very dark night over whom lightning flashes again and again." Life does seem to dilate and constrict in this way. There are sudden comprehensive moments, lightning flashes by which we can navigate for a while, sometimes for years, and the moods of confusion in between. Those very dark nights are where we need to practice patience. Too often, when drifting through a difficult passage of uncertainty, we become negatively self-centered and punish ourselves for not knowing more or not being more decisive. But if we take Maimonides' image to heart, this movement from lightning flash to dark night and back again is part of the journey. Despite how hard we work, when the lightning flashes in our mind or in our heart, we glimpse the hidden order and our changing place in it. If we can see our way through the uncertainty of feeling lost, unexpected callings often present themselves. If we can see our way through the uncertainty of feeling lost, unexpected callings often present themselves. So I'm going to ask this question again. It's a 2-part question, and just write the first thing that comes to you. Tell yourself 2 current stories about being lost in your life. The first one is this: in the outer sense of not knowing where you are or where you are headed, like how that is making you feel. And second, in the inner sense of being divided or cut apart from yourself, being cut off from yourself. And I'll give you a few minutes to work on this. And you're welcome to discuss with your neighbor if you want to talk it out with someone as well. Jeannie, I don't see you writing. Do you want to come? Do I need you to sit in the front of this class so you could start to participate? Okay. You thought you were in the dark back then. I couldn't see you. And on the inner sense, that second, in the inner sense of being divided or cut off, is what it should say, from yourself. What part of you are you not listening to? What part of you is telling you the truth and you're not listening? So you might be having moments in the outer world where you feel the union with the universe appearing through the vision of eagles or children laughing or baby deer crossing your path. You may be having a sense of sadness for the loss of time, but then moments of absolute clarity of who you are and why you are here comes. I've found myself repeatedly at the threshold of authentic living, needing to acquaint myself with the discomfort of not knowing where life will take me. And I think many of us have been feeling that a lot lately. Enduring the uncertainty often allows a deeper order or way to show itself. Enduring this discomfort allows the deeper texture and meaning of life to discover us. It allows life's roots to spread and grow before our eyes if we don't put ourselves too quickly in too small of a planter. Okay, so there's that part of us that wants to jump and make a decision even though we haven't fully visited that light in the darkness, that lightning that happens where you got a vision, you got a picture, the universe with a nudge or an intuition or something showed you a current, showed you a direction, but not fully was realized yet. And then we'll kind of jump and get ourselves in a small planter to grow because that's at least more comfortable than being in this uncertainty. But one who has faith in the order of life, one who lives in trust for this greater power, this greater love that moves in and through everything and is divinely guiding our lives, when you can have that flash and still stay in that place of center and stay there and keep waiting for the next flash. Because nowadays it's not coming to us in full sentences and it's not happening right away. And you know why? Because consciousness is growing. And consciousness grows in this vast unknowing place. This is where people grow. This is how souls grow. This is what grows us. This is what moves us from the human condition to the soul condition, to remember the power that we are. To remember the light bearer that we are, the abilities of healing that we're allowed to do to our body and for others. These abilities of magic that live within us. But it comes in this vast, uncomfortable place. And how can we feel comfortable in this vastness? How can we start listening deeply? This guy's sharing in this book 7,000 ways to listen deeply. Did you think there's 7,000 ways to listen? Well, especially for those of us that talk too much, probably not. Listening is a powerful thing, boy. So that vastness, how do we get comfortable in that vastness? So there's so much constant action and reaction. That's the human condition. The human condition says we have to have a knee-jerk reaction to every single thing. But a spiritualized person doesn't know the answers. They love to live in the question. Living in the question. Living in that silence, that uncomfortable silence. And being with that. And then having dreams or sleeping one night and you're like, I don't think I dreamt about anything. And then all of a sudden you're in your car and you remember this one little piece. One little piece that's like absolutely a piece of the puzzle. So that flash you had in the lightning, now you had a piece from a dream. Then you had your child say something to you. And all of a sudden, it's like patchwork. It's coming perfectly together. It's like we're on a scavenger hunt. And the answer that's right for you is not the same answer that's going to be right for you. Because each of us are a piece of that puzzle that is so needed. Right? So this awareness has to grow within individual and in cosmos as oneness, but taking to task what we are sharing with ourselves, being as self, what are we expressing as? Because all of that is the emanation of God, of source, of spirit, whatever you call it. It's an energy. So vibrationally, we're trying to heighten energy, right? And once we heighten, when we can get comfortable in this state of unknowing, it's weird how you all of a sudden know. The knowing lives in that unknowing. And trust me, what I'm talking about here is not as easy as it sounds coming out of my mouth because I'm living it, right? I have moments. That word uncertainty, let's just sit with that sucker. I'd like to call it a bad name, but I almost did. I just stopped myself. I'm really proud of myself. Because I've been working with this word, uncertainty. If there's an area in my life that is not uncertain, I don't know. I mean, absolutely. Who's feeling that uncertainty in this world? And who's not? So we have everybody but 3 people that are feeling uncertain. And you know what? God bless you. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you too. And for the rest of us, we get to be with self, right? So the constant action and reaction, sometimes it's just dropping a seed. You'll just see a seed that's dropped into you and letting that be in the firmament of the mind and in the heart and watching something grow. Just one spark of light that kind of shines into that tunnel that we're walking in. And it's just that little bit of a light that you start to celebrate because it's been so long since you got an answer. Who's had that recently? There's a little like, ooh, I got a feeling of it. I got a sense of where I'm going. That's all you need. It's that little prompt. It's like, okay, I can keep going. I can stay positive. I can be in the presence of this because, man, are we going to be blinded by what's going to come on the other side of this. But this is a journey, and this is not a 5-minute journey, and this is not a 1-month journey. This is years. How many years have we been in this? Let's say 1 year. Put your hands up for you. 2 years. 3 years. Your whole life? Well, if you pick the spiritual journey, it probably is your whole life on some level, in a wonderful way, right? So Friedrich Nietzsche says, the snake which cannot cast its skin has to die, as well as the minds which are prevented from changing their opinions. So this again goes down to renewal, right? It's the death and the resurrection. It's the out-breath and the inhale. We were talking about this last week. There's always a counterpoint. And so when something needs to end, we have to be able to end it, right? And I know people that are in relationships right now, romantic relationships right now, and it's just like barely good enough to stay, you know? But the damage that's taking place because these 2 human beings aren't truly unconditionally loving each other, but there's someone there. Sometimes that someone there, we get so addicted to that company when we don't realize that we're going to be in that state of not knowing for a long time if you keep subjecting yourself to things that are unholy. That's why this process is so amazing, because we have to look at our lovers. We have to look at our relationships with parents. We have to look at our relationships with our children. We have to look at our relationships with our bosses. And all the hardest ones, what are they? The hardest relationships are what? Teachers, right? Who said that, Steve? Okay, so see that? He's the head of our prayer partners, so you've been listening. I'm so proud of that. That's wonderful. So the most difficult ones, sometimes the actual learning or that difficult situation is you finally loving yourself enough to leave something, to leave someone. Not to make them bad. We leave in a state of forgiveness because nobody's bad. We can miss the mark. There's people that are unconscious in their consciousness. But we're here if we want to be growing and we want to be expanding. We do not expand with the company of people that are shriveled up, that want to keep you living small, that want to keep reminding you of what's wrong with you. Because the masterful process is believing and knowing the perfection. Spirit has made no mistakes. Everything that you are in expression, all of it is made in God. It's all made from source. There is no right or wrong way. And this is where religion's always gotten it wrong. This is an individual process with source. And then that expands out. That's why we need the community. That's why we need each other. And when people aren't ready, they're not going to drink the water. You can lead them to the water, but they're not going to drink. And that's not a responsibility. Because you know who's going to come with you? The people that feel your vibration, your high vibration. You know what? They start to flock to you. They want to be in the basking of your energy, and then they're going to grab that energy, and they're going to be attracting that energy. And that's how consciousness changes. And that's how we change the world. And that's how we heal this planet. So when you feel that sense of uncertainty, can we invite it in? with a smile on our face. Go, here we go again. I've been down this road before, and every time I reflect back on this road, this is where I've learned who I truly am. This is where I learned and remembered the beauty of who I am. Consistent action and reaction. Sometimes it's just dropping of a seed that lands in our mind, and it has to percolate within us for a little while. And then that seed starts to grow, and then those flashes in the dark start to show you visions. The universe speaks through visions. The universe speaks through actual audible words that will land in your head sometimes. You're like, where did that come from? This mystery of life is communicating with us all the time. Every animal, everything that comes near you, and you say, that seems very on purpose that bird just landed right there when I said this very direct thing. And then you look up the symbolism of that hummingbird, or you look up that symbolism of twin Bambis that went in front of me. This happened to me this week. And I came in, and these teeny tiny little deer that live on our property here went running in front of my car with the spots all over them. They couldn't have been a week old. And I thought, oh, this is going to be a good day. That was like a lottery winning, you know what I mean? Like, and I'd heard that these little babies were around here. People that are near our property are like, oh, there's 2 little babies. And I got to see them right at the beginning of the day. When we start to learn the sight, the sound, the smell, that palpitation of feeling of God, of source, of spirit, always working in and through our lives, you won't want to leave it. And you'll want to surround yourselves with people that live in that space too. In 7,000 Ways to Listen, Mark Nutbo says it this way. Listening, this sincerely opens us to the spiritual gravity that pulls us to the common center of all living things. It is the pull to center that asks us to lean into all we don't know. Leaning into life is the work of intuition, the chance to discover the learnings we are born with, the way a seed discovers the flower it will become. The work of being is to listen our way into living our inborn nature, a beautiful beginning and end in itself. A beautiful beginning and end in itself. So you see that? What that is referring to is the ends. We have ends that happen. And when we leave those ends open, we don't get to get the beginnings. And that's where uncertainty lives. When we can't make a clear decision, even though everything is prompting you to leave something that's destroying you. But you think, where am I going to land? Where am I going to land? In that where am I going to land is that uncertainty. Surround yourself with your holy friends. Surround yourself with your group of sages, because you're all sages. Jesus says, I'm no different than you. You work the same miracles and more. But we live in this limitation like we aren't expanded wisdom. So when we got to make that, we got to cut it. We got to end it to get the new beginning. We have to be willing to let people go. When you know you're ready to cut ship, you're ready to grow. You're ready to experience this expanded love. You're ready to share this expanded love with others. And nothing less is invited. Let's just sit with that for a minute. Sitting in this expanded love. Like, look at this. All these ways to see heaven on earth. Jesus said heaven is in the very midst of you. It was never about some separate heaven that we on one day die and go to heaven. It's a state of consciousness. It's a lens that you look through. It's a feeling you feel in the presence of this beautiful nature. What could be more beautiful than where we are? Look, we live in Boulder, Colorado. You can walk out your door and there's 7,000 trails. There's the animals everywhere. It's nature, it's creeks, it's lakes, it's trees, it's love, it's light. But just like heaven is a state of consciousness, so is hell. Hell also can be visited from within. And hell is a state of missing the mark in your thoughts. It's believing in the difficult and adding on to that difficult and creating more of that difficulty in your life. And we can create heaven or hell here. It's a choice. Always remembering my potential is endless. These are great affirmations when you're in it. My potential is endless. And don't let anybody tell you something different. Stop looking for the approval of others of the decisions you are making in your life. Stop asking for approval. You know more than anyone else because you carried the soul so many lifetimes. Listen to your own heart. Because your potential is endless, limitless. And when you really start listening, like deeply listening, like the 7,000 ways we can listen. There's a song that you think might have ended, but that song lives in the silence. That's your song, your soul's song. It's still singing. But sometimes you have to go in the silence to remember. Thank you.
Once again, we've received insights we can use to make our lives work harmoniously and beautifully. So let's carry them with us and put them to work in our lives, in our minds, in our experiences, in our relationships. We have received freely, beautifully. Now we have the opportunity to give back freely and beautifully. Those of you that are watching online, you can look at the different ways we have to give to Unity of Boulder. We have a QR code in the lobby as well, if you want to give with PayPal or Venmo. And you may have it on a handout. If there's a handout, you have that QR code. So making yourself a part of the spiritual truth that is evolving in our experience in life is by giving back in every way. So we have that opportunity now. Let's bring our gifts into our hands. And from our hearts, let's bless this gift with this offering prayer. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, because I give. And so it is. Amen. And we have the opportunity to listen to this artist, poet, share this beautiful inspiration with us once again.
The sky sings. The sky sings me home, where my grandmother's bones lace my own marrow. Ash on my fingers, soft from last night's fire, soft from conjuring stars, mapping home. Home, not like the place to return to after my skin lays down, but that resonant river that traces my limbs, where I'm rooted, where I remember myself, whole, connected, powerful, able to do more than survive. A stone from the path asks me for a carry. We share a walk for a while. I ask this elder brother how to get home, how to remember myself whole. I ask if they will remember for me and seed my dreams so I never forget anymore. Brother tells me, forgetting is the game. Survival, the map of losing and finding so our hearts can crack deeper and deeper like stones in a sweat lodge. Glowing red, cold water striking their flesh. Their hearts burst, offering the way to let go and fall. Home again. Every prayer should end in again. The soft ash on my fingertips, again. May I remember to look deep into the night sky again. May I sing and write poems and light sage in the mornings again. May I remember myself whole again. May I say thank you even before please. May I wake up knowing. May I seed my bright path from end to beginning. May I remember the magic in everything again. Thank you.
Poet Val, everyone, let's give her another round of applause. So if you're facing a challenge in your life right now and you'd like to sit with a prayer partner, you can just stay seated in the seats after we do our closing song. These are the prayer partners that have the white sashes on, and they will come and find you in here and probably take you down to our meditation room downstairs. I always have a circle up at the back of this room right after the service. You want to discuss the talk for about 15 minutes. We can come and just gather, and you can ask me some things, or you can share something that's on your heart. And let's just all rise. We're going to just close with "Let there be peace on earth." I think that this we need some peace on earth for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think we have quite enough to circle, so we'll just stand.
Right.
And if
Just
you can
let
hold
the
a
light-
hand next to you, that would be great.
Let your light go out to those places in the world where there are conflicts and wars, the Gaza, Ukraine.
All right, well, I guess we're getting a circle going. Let's all get to the surrounding circle. We're making it here.
Let
I
us
guess we do have
stretch our
enough
arms a
people.
little
Get to
bit, that's
really
all.
stretch our arms today. And so it is.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go in the Spirit. The Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release.
We want to hear you.
Let
Beautiful.
Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I'm free. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only
back into our lives.